The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week on FRCmedia News, Governor Healey signs the state budget for FY 2025. We look at the benefits Fall River residents will get when it comes to public transportation and attending college. And the community is invited to walk in support of providing help to the city's homeless. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, August 1st, 2024. This is FRCmedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. Nearly a month late, Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey this week approved the state's FY 2025 budget that will finance state government through next June. The governor says the spending plan keeps the focus on leaders' shared priorities.
Massachusetts today, we are firing on all cylinders. This year, we've been ranked #1 for innovation, #1 for education. We've been ranked the best place in the country to raise a family and the best business environment, according to U.S. News and World Report. I think that's pretty great. But at the same time, we know that the competition is fierce and our residents face challenges. So we are not resting and we're not taking our foot off the gas. We're going on offense with this budget and so much more. We're delivering on collective priorities and driving our state forward with urgency and purpose. Now, the budget today represents a whole lot of things. One thing it represents is investments on things that we're already leading on and making them even better. This includes our #1 ranked schools and our nation-leading child care policy. We're also tackling our biggest challenges by lowering household costs and improving transportation. We're doing this all responsibly, fiscally responsibly, staying within our means and in line with the rate of inflation. We've worked hard to make sure that every taxpayer dollar is focused on making life better for all who live and work in our state.
The governor says the budget targets investments in education and tax breaks for working families.
This budget funds Literacy Launch, which is our plan to provide high-quality, evidence-based reading instruction to every student from age 3 to grade 3. Schools using the right materials are seeing major gains, and we can now bring that advantage to more Massachusetts students. That is in addition to important funding for education, like fully funding the Student Opportunity Act to invest more in our schools than ever before. Continuing to fund free breakfast and lunch for every public school child in Massachusetts, which saves families money and feeds hundreds of thousands of children. We're also fully phasing in the tax cuts that we passed last year. For families, that now means the most generous universal child and dependent tax credit in the entire country.
Fall River State Senator Michael Rodrigues helped craft the budget as chair of the Senate's Committee on Ways and Means.
We produce a product that is responsible, that is balanced, that does not dip into any of our reserve funds, whether it's the stabilization fund or the transitional escrow fund. As a matter of fact, when fiscal year 24 is finally closed out in a couple months, we are scheduled to deposit another $500 million or so into the stabilization fund, which will bring that balance close to $9 billion. And it's something we're all very, very proud of, that we have been able to work together collaboratively to produce a document and a budget that not just we in the legislature, but all residents and citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts should be very, very proud of.
So what from the budget will directly benefit Fall River residents? Well, customers of the Southeastern Regional Transit Authority, or SRTA, will continue to ride fare-free through June of 2025, after the governor allocated funds to the 15 regional transit authorities across the state.
What's included in this is our fixed route service, the main lines that you see out there, the big buses running around, and some of the silver buses that are hybrids, which we're pretty excited about, and our 88 paratransit service. So that's the vans that you see helping people from their origin to their destination throughout the service area. We're seeing about 50,000 more trips a month at least in May. A busy month for us used to be about 225,000 trips provided. In the month of May, we were over 330,000 trips provided. It really has changed quite a bit. Some of that's attributed to Sunday service, so you can't give that all to fare-free service. But people really have gotten out there. They're trying transit, and they seem to be liking it.
Fare-free service includes a continuation of routes on Sunday, which were reintroduced earlier this year. Mr. Russo says even though free fares have been popular, there's no expectation it will continue past next June.
Our passengers do have some experience with that. We were fare-free for most of, or actually more than a year when the pandemic first hit. And they adapted rather well to paying fares again. I think that there is an understanding that service and access to service is first and foremost. As you mentioned, we do have Sunday service. That's something that this region has been really crying out for decades. And not coincidentally, but incidentally, I guess the amount that it costs for us to run on Sundays is approximately the same as what it costs to be fare free. So typically when people ask about, well, why wouldn't you always stay fare free? That's kind of the size and the scope that I try to help use to frame the conversation. We could be fare free for a good amount of time, but that may mean that it comes at the cost of Sunday service. And the 5,000 trips that we're providing on Sundays, I think speaks to a level of commitment to possibly paying for fares if that is a future. And right now it really is year to year. I can only say for sure that we can run fare free through June 30th. And we'll do the best we can to continue that. And it has been very popular so far. So we're excited for the passengers that are out there riding.
Massachusetts residents who do not currently have a college degree can now attend community college tuition and fare free after the governor approved funding for the Mass Educate program. Bristol Community College President Dr. Laura Douglas says free college for SouthCoast residents cannot come at a better time.
For many years, we've been hearing that the cost of college is out of reach for so many, and students just don't think they can handle it. And so many of our students, in fact, most of our students, work 30, 40 hours a week in addition to coming to school. So they have students, maybe young kids that they take care for, maybe elderly parents. They have so much going on in their lives, and to just make the commitment to come to college is big enough, but then finding the opportunity to pay for it becomes a little challenging. So with Mass Educate, it really opens the door for people who are highly motivated to come to college or come back to college to finish a degree.
Dr. Douglas says new students looking to start in the fall should take the steps now to apply and get registered for classes, with an eye toward meeting certain requirements to qualify for the free college program.
Students must have graduated from high school or have a high school equivalency. So that's typically the GED or the HiSET. They have to be residents of Massachusetts. You have to have a year of residency. You have to fill out the FAFSA or the MASFA. Those are financial aid forms. Students can be part-time or full-time in this program. So part-time means just at least 6 credits a semester. So that's typically 2 classes. Most classes are 3 credits, some are 4. But you just need to stay on that path. And as we've seen with Mass Reconnect, we have many part-time students. They take 6 credits. They took them in the fall. They took 6 credits in the spring. They took 6 credits in the summer. So in no time, they will be able to get that certificate or degree as long as they stay on task. That's what's really, really important. So part-time or full-time will accommodate you.
Depending on their level of financial need, students may also qualify for an additional stipend to cover the cost of books and other supplies. Returning students will also begin to see the benefits of Mass Educate this fall. Dr. Douglas says the college is ready to accommodate an influx of new registrations attributed to Mass Educate.
We predicted that we would have a late decision from the legislature and the governor on the budget. So we work to make sure that we have the necessary staffing in place, the faculty, adjuncts that we can call upon as we begin to ramp up to meet the demands of students who are enrolling. We also have what we call a flex start term for those students who may come in a little bit late and they can't start on time right after Labor Day, but they can start later in September. It's a condensed semester, but we have paired courses to make it really easy for students to take those 6 credits at a time. So I think we're really as ready as we could possibly be.
Money for Mass Educate is financed through revenue collected from the state's millionaire's tax, which adds a 4% surcharge on individuals earning more than $1 million a year. There are vocal detractors who are criticizing the free college program. Dr. Douglas predicts SouthCoast residents who take advantage of Mass Educate will prove them wrong.
One of the things that people ask is, will students take this opportunity for granted? And they often say to me, don't you think students need skin in the game? And I always like to respond with, these are students with skin in the game already. You know, these are not, our students typically are not wealthy students. They don't have a lot of time. They have a lot of obligations. And they are really out to make something of themselves. They have children. Most of our students are parents. They have aging parents that they take care of. Many of them work more than one job. To come to school, to make time, to carve out some time in their crazy day to come and earn a college degree or credential is skin in the game. And it's the kind of skin that will not only help their families with sustainability and self-sufficiency, an opportunity to do things that they never could do before.
The sooner residents apply and register for classes, the better in ensuring acceptance into Mass Educate. Find out more by visiting Bristol's website or by emailing navigators@bristolcc.edu. Residents in Fall River's Flint neighborhood became alarmed last week when illegally dumped trash was spotted at Father Travasso's Park. Fall River Police and the Department of Community Maintenance promptly cleaned up the neighborhood and were able to identify and fine the person responsible for the illegal dumping. Mayor Paul Coogan says his office gets complaints of illegal trash dumping often.
It's so nice to catch people and hit them with a substantial fine when they're dumping their furniture or they're dumping their mattress. You know, it's really disgusting the way these people treat the city, and then other people ride around and say, boy, the city's dirty. Well, it's dirty because people don't know how to act, and they think the sidewalk or the street is their private litter disposal place. And it really does drive me nuts. And we're doing a lot of work. We have our street crew out from Holly Hill Baptista and the Career Center. We have our street sweepers going all the time, and we're trying to get a handle on litter, but it is a battle. And when people see something like that, please let us know.
Reports of alleged illegal trash dumping can be made directly to the mayor's office at 508-324-2600. Fall River's unemployment rate in June was slightly higher than the previous month. The city's jobless rate was 5.6%, up from 5.4% in May. The rate in June a year ago was 5%. Communities surrounding Fall River and regional gateway cities also saw their rates rise. The Massachusetts unemployment rate in June was also up slightly to 3.2%. It's safe to say that history continues to be made almost daily in this year's presidential election. with the assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump and President Biden's decision to leave the race, all in the past 2.5 weeks, this has been an election unlike any other. As part of our ongoing series looking at the history of the presidency and elections, we asked Associate Professor of History and Government at Bristol Community College, Don Kilgus, to place these events in historical context. When it comes to assassination attempts against candidates during the campaign, the first instance occurred over a century ago in 1912 when former President Teddy Roosevelt was attacked.
And when he was running for president, a individual, a former tavern keeper by the name of John Schrank, shot him in October of 1912 in Milwaukee. It actually penetrated, and it actually hit Roosevelt, penetrated through his speech. Now, back in the day, they gave much more long-winded speeches than we do today, even though we think today their speeches are pretty long.
Right.
And luckily, the speech was folded in his breast pocket, as well as he had his glass case. The bullet pierced through the speech, pierced through the case, and was lodged in his chest. He actually said to the people, he said, "Ladies and gentlemen," I'm paraphrasing, he said, "I don't know if you realize, but I've just been shot." But he said, "It takes much more than that to stop a bull moose." And he went on and he said, he told his folks, he said, "I want to deliver the speech." Robert F. Kennedy was probably one of the more famous candidates, obviously, to be assassinated in June of 1968. We had an assassination attempt against George Wallace in 72. There were a couple against sitting presidents who were running for re-election, like Gerald Ford. There were a couple attempts against his life. So we do see that happening, periodically in American history.
Professor Kilgus says President Biden's decision to step aside this late in the race is unprecedented and was likely not an easy one. It also opened up questions as to the viability of Vice President Harris, who is now the presumptive nominee.
These politicians are very much geared towards, the public service, doing and trying to contribute and trying to do what they can. And I think when that comes to an end, either voluntarily on their end or because they have to, in this case, he was forced to do it. He didn't really want to step aside. You could see that. So I think that makes it even more difficult to watch, from a human standpoint, but then also from a political standpoint, I think it's difficult for the Democrats, as you mentioned a little while ago, being so close to the convention. Now, what do we do? Now, where do we go from here? And there were discussions about, do we have a mini primary? Do we have an open convention? Where do things go from here? But it seems like folks have really coalesced around Vice President Harris. So it seems like that won't be an open convention. It seems like things will go smoothly. But she, as I said, for the first time in about 50 years, there will not be, she had not gone through the primary process. So I think that's kind of interesting for us to think about.
You can watch our full conversation with Professor Kilgus on Channel 95 and on our website, frmedia.org. We'll have more FRC Media News after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Grade 8 ELA teacher. Atlantis Charter School, located at 991 Jefferson Street, is seeking a full-time Grade 8 ELA teacher to work to develop students' academic and interpersonal skills through English language arts courses of study. Job number 212-06356. Senior accountant. Liberty Utilities, located at 36 5th Street, is looking for a full-time senior accountant, responsible for the accurate and timely recording of financial transactions within the company's financial system. Job number 212-07102. IT Support Technician. Star Incorporated, located at 386 Stanley Street, seeks a full-time IT support technician to provide technical support and assistance to computer users. Job number 212-00458. Customer Service Associate. Walgreens, located at 1512 South Main Street, is looking for a full-time customer service associate. For more information, call 508-674-0255. Invigen Pharmaceuticals, located at 927 Current Road, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Pilot Plant Machine Operator, job number 212-05410. Packaging Operator, job number 211-95126. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. Fall River's primary homeless shelter, Steppingstone Inn's First Step Inn, has served the community since 2003, meeting the needs of the unhoused. The First Step Inn houses 30 beds year-round, with 50 available during the colder months of November through March. Director of Homeless Services Rosa Medeiros says as housing insecurity has persisted across Fall River, so has the number of individuals who have become unhoused.
The shelter itself is about 200 people that come in and actually get shelter services here, that actually get a bed and, are fed here and that are provided all the services to get housed. The individuals that are outside in encampments either get outreach services, which our team goes out with a housing worker, recovery support navigators. We go out and we try to engage with individuals out in the encampments, get them to trust us so that we can maybe get them to engage in a housing worker so they can get housed. They can get housed right from encampment. They don't have to be in shelter. So we've tried to make those services start at their unhoused situation and throughout until they get housed. And then when they get housed, we stay with them to ensure that they stay stably housed. I have an outreach team here in the shelter that goes out to provide meals on a regular basis and have people engaged so that they can get like a housing worker to help them, a housing navigator to get them housed and then stay with them while they're housed. But the numbers have increased. We used to have 3 housing workers, we now have 5. So the numbers are incredible in our community. But it's not any different than any other community.
Ms. Medeiros says she would like to make all 50 beds available year-round, but is restricted by finding adequate funding for the additional staff needed to operate the shelter. Since its inception, the First Step Inn has hosted an annual 5K walk to raise funds to support the shelter. Ms. Medeiros hopes this year's Get Steppin' Walk will unite the community around finding solution to ensure everyone in Fall River has a home.
Our goal is 110,000. That was our goal last year. I think, got 108 or something. So we got really close. It looks like we're nowhere close to that, but it's weird how it happens at the end. And I think we do really well with sponsorships. We have a lot of beautiful agencies and companies throughout and that are committed to this cause that are always there every year for us. It's really amazing. That makes you proud, to know that the community organizations are all in. If I have one ask for this walk, it's just for people to come and gather with us, people to come and walk with us, people to say they're important. They're important, and because they are. And I mean, there's so many beautiful stories about when they get housed, when they get a home, how they turn their lives around, how the cycle of homelessness breaks for people. It ends, and all they need is a home and some support and staying there stable.
This year's walk will take place on Saturday, August 10th, outside the First Step Inn on Durfee Street.
The day starts at 9:15. It's a lot of fun. You walk down a street here, you go right to the Heritage State Park, you walk by the beautiful waterfront of Fall River, turn around, walk back. Get here, we have some pizza, refreshments, we have some raffle prizes. Your day's done by 12:30. And you've gotten some exercise in, you've contributed to a good cause, and you've represented this population that is unhoused in our community that really needs a little support. I mean, sometimes stigma is attached to it. What's their problem? What are they doing? Are they making bad decisions? Are they using drugs? What's going on? Yeah, some of them are. A lot of them just can't afford a place to live right now. It's really, really difficult to afford a place.
For more information and to register for the Get Steppin' 5K walk, Visit Steppingstone's website or call 508-674-2788, extension 16101. We will wrap up this edition of FRC Media News after this.
Hello and welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Marty. He was a 2-year-old domestic short hair male. He was a stray that was later surrendered to us. He's a very sweet and loving boy. As you can see, he loves to just sit here and soak up the pets. Total purr machine. We believe he would be good with kids. He has not been tested, but because of his super laid-back nature, we don't think he'd have any problems. He does have a little bit of a playful side, so he will chase after toys and everything. He would really do best in any form of home. He is here in our communal cat room, so he does do well with other cats. He's a very sweet boy, just wants all the attention, all the treats. He would definitely be a lab cat. If anyone is interested in Marty, you can come on down to Forever Paws at 300 Linwood Drive to meet him and put in an application. You can also go to foreverpaws.com and fill out an application.
Today we have Indy. He's a 7-year-old Chihuahua mix that we've had for about a week now. He's a very friendly guy. He is very vocal though, so he does bark a bit when he's meeting new people, but after he's met you, he's very sweet. He loves to beg for attention, literally. He will start begging most of the time. We recommend him with children over 12 just because we don't know too much of his background, so we usually recommend children 12 and over. He's a very active boy as well. He loves to go on walks. He does like to play. He loves belly rubs. Just really any attention that you give him, he is all for it. So if you want to come down and meet Indy, come visit us at Forever Paws Animal Shelter, or feel free to check out our website, foreverpaws.com. We have applications on there, or just, if you would just like to come and meet him, feel free to do so.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.